Hello, my name is Jennifer Stonage, and I am a senior associate attorney here at the law offices of Bross Frankel. And today I'm going to be talking to you about sleep apnea and veterans' disability benefits. So we're going to start first by talking about the three types of sleep apnea. The first, obstructive sleep apnea. With obstructive sleep apnea, this is a situation in which the muscles in your throat relax to the point that it actually closes off your airways. The second type of sleep apnea is what we call central sleep apnea. That's where your nervous system isn't shooting the proper signals to your body to allow you to breathe while you're sleeping. And then the third type of sleep apnea is a mixed type. It's some central, some obstructive sleep apnea, just kind of something in the middle there. So what is this? Why are we here talking about sleep apnea today? Well, because at this point in time, there are an alarming number of veterans, both from the Vietnam War and from those who served post 9/11. There are an increasing number of sleep apnea diagnoses amongst veterans like this. And the reasons why kind of vary, but there are ways in which we can prove that sleep apnea is connected to your time in the service. Although sleep apnea is not a presumptive condition under any of the veterans regulations, although sleep apnea is not a presumed condition under the VA regulations, it is noted to be connected to exposure to certain things, such as Agent Orange, of course, Gulf War syndrome, of course, and burn pit exposure. However, there are other ways in which your sleep apnea can be connected to your time in the service. So let's talk about the risk factors for sleep apnea. First is age, and second is obesity. Obesity tends to be one of the major reasons why sleep apnea gets denied for service connection. They assume at the VA, or they have doctors who state that obesity is really the primary cause of your sleep apnea, when in fact there are other risk factors, including smoking, psychiatric conditions, gender, genetic predispositions, trauma to the face, and toxic exposures. When we talk about trauma to the face, that can be just about anything. You're running out on drills and you trip, fall, break your nose, and all of a sudden you develop sleep apnea years later. We can directly relate that fracture in your nose to your time in the sleep apnea, or to your diagnosis of sleep apnea. However, what we like to talk about as well are two of the other major things that cause sleep apnea, which is psychiatric conditions, like PTSD, major depressive disorder, and anxiety. There is medical literature out there that supports the fact that these conditions can actually cause sleep apnea, or at the very least, increase your risk for sleep apnea. Second, we talk about the orthopedic injuries that occur quite frequently while you're in the military. For example, you have, maybe you fall, you fracture an ankle, you sprain an ankle, you break a leg, any of these conditions that can cause you to unfortunately have to live a more sedentary lifestyle than you're used to. That causes weight gain, obesity, and therefore we can directly connect your time in the service to your obstructive sleep apnea as a secondary condition. So we here at Bross Frankel spend a lot of time working with medical experts and individuals who are well aware of sleep apnea, the diagnoses, the things that can cause them. But more importantly, the reason I'm talking to you today is because the VA is proposing some major legislative changes specifically for sleep apnea. They are recommending that veterans who are diagnosed with and service-connected for sleep apnea and use a CPAP machine be rated at 30%. Currently, it is a 50% automatic if you're service-connected for sleep apnea and use a CPAP machine. What does this mean for you? It means get your applications for obstructive sleep apnea in as soon as possible. If it gets denied, come right here to Bross Frankel, where we will get to work on your behalf.